Hello everyone, my name is Chris Miller. I am one of the co-creators of the Chronicles of PA comic book and also working as the art director and animation director for the Chronicles of PA game. And time for another video log. Today what I'm going to talk about is basically just some thumbnail animation. And for those who don't know what a thumbnail is, it's just really a small little tiny sketch. And you know, a lot of times artists will do like a small thumbnail just to kind of get the pose right for their character, or you know, just get the motion right for what they're trying to draw. Then usually what they'll do later is they'll do a more refined version later on. And in the last video blog you saw what the final result of a PA animated character is going to look like. But right now what I wanted to show you guys was some thumbnail animation. And like I said, most artists do it thumbnail sketches just for the, you know, a still image, but I like to do it for animation, and I think it helps out a lot for doing animation because you're able to get the motion right. That's the most important thing. And like I said before in the last video blog, I wanted to do some animation for this game that's a little bit more dynamic and a little bit more exciting than what was originally done with the sprites last year. So like I said, let's go through these things. And for those who want to know what I'm doing, I'm using a program called Adobe ImageReady. And if you want to know a little bit more about my process, I've described it more on my Chris Crazy House channel, and maybe I'll post a link to how I do that stuff. But I'll explain it in a microcosm right here. What I do is I have a program that's called Sketchbook Pro, and that's where I do a lot of my drawings, and I record my sketch blogs on there as well. And basically just a basic drawing and sketching program. It's very affordable. That's one of the reasons I got it in the first place, and it's very versatile. And it's an industry standard program because when I worked in Atlanta, a lot of the guys that I worked with or knew from Cartoon Network use Sketchbook Pro as well. Basically, what I do is I do the drawings. All these drawings were done in Sketchbook Pro, and I did them in different layers, so like each action is layered one on top of the other. And then what I later did was I exported the Sketchbook Pro file as a PSD, which is an Adobe file, and I brought this into Adobe ImageReady. And you know, I think Photoshop does it now too, so you don't even have to use ImageReady nowadays. Like the new Photoshop does this as well. What you can do is what I'm doing is I put the little eye icon on each layer, and they have like a little animation frame by frame that you can put in ImageReady or in Photoshop. And essentially I just line these layers up one after the other in the animation box, and you can kind of make a little animation. It just shows how the motion works. So when you play it as like so, you can see PA swiping down his sword. And I did to almost like a double attack. So this is like he goes, slashes downward, and like with the animation, like you see I'm doing here, you can adjust the frames or the frame rate, so you can see how long the frame lasts, for how long or how many seconds, and then you export it. I'm going to export this as a SWF file because I want to import this stuff into Flash later on, because I'm going to be, like I said, refining it and making it more detailed. But yeah, like I said, you can just refine your frames, how long you want them to be on there, or if you want them on for a second, 0.1 second, 0.2 seconds, 0.5 seconds. And like I said, you get the basic idea of how the motion works. And like I said, I'm exporting it here, SWF file, replace that one. There you go. And like I said, it's a real easy thing to do. Like I said, I started doing this a couple of years ago once I learned that I could actually do this with ImageReady and Sketchbook Pro. And it's just a process that I like to use. I mean, you can do whatever you want, whatever programs you think work for you guys as far as doing animation, do that. You don't have to do exactly what I do. This is just a process that I came up with. And like I said, as far as like doing the thumbnail animations, I wanted to show just like the basic motion of what the sprite is going to look like, the attack sprites. And like I said, it's a lot more dynamic and a lot better than what I had before. And it also harkens back to what was the original premise of the PA game, is to do a classic side scroller beat 'em up game. So keep the sprites very simple. I don't want to. Another thing about these sprites, what I'm going to do is just the actions are, you know, the frames that you see now is probably what you're going to get. I'm not going to do too much in between or motion tweening, because the game moves so fast. You don't have too much space in there for over the top animation. So you can see how it works there. Once you get your animation done, you can kind of play it in the box there and you see how it's going. Let me export that Swift file and save this as the second short animation, because I have two animations going really. It's for his one attack, the sword comes kind of downward in a downward arc, and the second animation comes in like a side swipe arc. So I kind of, like I said, wanted to kind of, you know, vary his attacks, so it's not just the same thing over and over again when you press a button. Have some variety, and, you know, just have fun with it. And also, you know, if you double tap, hopefully I'll be able to program this properly into the game, or get the programmer to do it right. And, you know, when you double tap for attack animation, I'm pretty sure it'll be easy enough to do, because I've seen it done before in other side scroller games for the mobile devices. But yeah, you know, like when you, just so you can kind of hit an enemy when he's swinging backwards. 1, 2, 1, 2. So that was 2 hits. It's almost a way of covering himself as well as attacking. So it's an offensive and defensive move. And like I said, you know, you export these. I export them as Swift files, because I'm going to be importing them into Flash later on and doing the more refined animation. So you see that, and I'll save it as number 2 double. Save that. And I'm going to be playing these animations so you guys can kind of take a look and see how they all look in just the Swift files. So let me open these up here. Now I got the animations, the actual Swift files opening up, so you guys can kind of see it a lot better. And you'll see the animation play without, yeah, there you go. And that's kind of how quick the motion is going to be, because when you're playing a game, you want the character to attack quickly. You don't want any lag time there. I kind of slowed it down in the other version because, like I said, I'm going to be doing the refined version of these animations, so I kind of want some space in there so I know what I'm doing, and then I can shorten the frames later on. Let's open up the second. Yeah, see, he goes 1, 2, 1, 2. So when he does that downward arc, he comes back up. So that way he can get that double attack in. Get up off me. Yeah, so I just want you guys to see that. And I'll be opening up the next one. Excuse me. Let's see here. Yes, here we go. And this is the second hit. This is the short version. He does kind of side swipe. Kind of just hits the character straight sideways. Goes kind of across, almost like he's cutting someone's head off. If you want to think about it, it's like a decapitation move. The next part of that, he's going to be doing the arc backwards. So he's going to be hitting the guy forward, and then like almost as a defensive move, kind of hitting back, swinging backwards. And you kind of saw a little glimpse of that before. But here's it at the actual speed, the right speed. There you go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So yeah, that's essentially like how I like to do it. Like I said, you see how fluid the animation looks a lot better. I'll probably do a little bit of tweaking just to make sure his feet and everything stay in the same spot when I do the more refined animation, but that's a lot easier for me to do. This is really just, like I said, just to get that motion. And like I said, you can get the motion and emotion in the artwork and animation. I'm going to show you guys also the walk cycle. So I did the same thing for the walk cycle as well. Like I said, here we are again in Adobe Image Ready, and I have the walk cycle. It's already kind of set up here. I just kind of go through the frames. See, that's the first frame. The first part of the walk cycle is 8 frames all together, and that's the first frame right there, which is called like the extreme. Then the next one where he's kind of stepping down, getting that step down going, and we got the next frame over here. That's the mid stride. Always got to have that middle stride there, and it kind of comes up a little bit. The next one is the going back into the extreme. This is always the weirdest frame for me, in my opinion. Then you got the other extreme, where it's the opposite leg and opposite arm coming forward. And see how it kind of has the sword is kind of swinging around his head as well. Just because I want him to look a little bit more determined in his walk. It's not so stiff as it was before, because before I just had his legs moving, and he kind of like his upper body kind of stayed in the same pose. I just wanted to have something a little bit more dynamic, and I did some research. Like I said, tons and tons of research on sprite design, and I found a lot of different games and just how they do their sprites, and I want to do the same thing. So let me open up the animation so you guys can see it. Showing all my little files here. There's tons of them, by the way. I have my own filing system. I know it's weird to people probably watching, but that's just me. And open up the Swift file here. And there you go. Here's the walk cycle. And I kind of slowed it down a little bit. He'll be walking faster when you see the actual animation. But like I said, I did this because I wanted to kind of slow it down so you can see all the frames. Like I said, you kind of see how that sword is swinging back and forth. You know, like I said, that it's not just showing the motion, but also the emotion in the work. Because PA is out there to save his people, so he's gotta look determined there. He's not playing games. You know what I'm saying? He's gotta go out there and do the work. Let's open it up. I'll open up the actual GIF version. Yeah, see, that's a little bit more to the actual speed. You can see that that's a little bit small, a lot smaller. So, like I said, it's a thumbnail, and I can blow it up later on when I do the more refined stuff. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this vlog and kind of looking at my process here. Definitely more stuff coming up. Keep posted. If you don't have the Chronicles of PA comic book, please go out and get it. Go to the chroniclesofpa.com and I'll post a link in the description box. You can go out and buy the graphic novel or single issues of the comic. Chris Miller signing out. Peace.